night, if you were like, that looks like the kind of girl that would hit on someone at the deli, you are correct, yes. The other night, it was like 9 p.m. I walked up to the deli counter at the grocery store, right? I ordered half a pound of mesquite turkey breast. And there was a gentleman next to me who looked about my age, and he also ordered half a pound of mesquite turkey breast. And I thought, oh my God, I think this is how the Notebook started. I was like, this is what they call an open door, right? I gotta make a move, because I'm a little bit funny, so I'll say something, and he'll giggle, and we'll get married. So I leaned into this guy, and I was like, why don't we make it a full pound and share? Why don't we make it a full pound and share? Now, you know like when you're flirting, you get like a rush of endorphins and you sort of picture yourself how you not actually are, right? In my mind, I thought I was channeling Penelope Cruz. I was pretty sure it came out in Spanish. I was biting my lower lip. When in reality, judging by his reaction, it probably sounded more like Barney the dinosaur was hitting on him. It was like, ho, 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 why don't we make it a full pound and share, boys and girls? Just, that is not sexy. And he didn't answer me. He kind of looked at me with like awkward side eye, like, why is this special needs girl talking to me? Darn it, they usually have somebody helping them with this. Here's who did answer me. The woman serving the deli meat. She said, did you say you wanted a full pound? Now, this kind angel was offering me a way out of this situation, right? But instead, like, I panicked, and I just started talking. I was like, oh yeah, full pound for me, but still a half for him, because we're not together. I'm single and alone. I'm going to take mine and eat it slice by slice over the counter in my apartment. God, why am I still talking? You know what? Yeah, I'm going to go full poundage. I wanted him to go full poundage on me. I don't think that's going to happen now, so I'll take that.
Welcome to What and Comedy, where comedians discuss comedy with local comics, and we refuse to shorten our intro. I'm here with my good friend and the very funny Catherine Geronimi.
Yes.
I have been trying so hard. This has been a whole thing. This is like the only thing I've been worried about this whole time. Catherine Geronimi.
Yes, very nice.
Who has been nice enough to come down and talk a little comedy with us.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
And thanks for coming down. So let's start with just some basic intro stuff. How'd you get into comedy?
Okay. My mother actually handed me like a Parks and Recreation booklet, you know, for like all the activities that are happening in like the spring or fall or whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
So she handed one to me, and there was like
out of the house, right?
Yeah, get me out of the house. And there was like a radio personality who was teaching a stand-up comedy class, and she was like, I think you should go try it.
Yeah.
And I thought it was a little strange, but I signed up. It was like 6 weeks,
Yep.
and I went, and it was like me, 5 other dudes, and just the radio guy who was teaching it. And it wasn't really like, I say class, but it was more of like we just got together and they were like, let's tell jokes. And so it was just like a trial by fire. We just got up every week.
Yeah.
We tried some stand-up, whatever we were doing.
Yep.
And at the end, there was like a little contest. And I won the contest.
Oh,
so
wow. Yeah.
after that, you know, when you feel good about yourself, you're
Right.
like, oh, I could do this.
Yeah, let me try that again.
Yeah,
right.
this is going to be great.
Yep.
And then I just bombed for like a year after that.
Yeah.
But that's how I started, was just like, you know, just a guy who was like, he loves stand-up, and he just wanted to teach it, share it, and so that's how it all began.
Oh, that's really cool. That sounds like a lot of fun. And I think I've seen, you've done a couple of those classes, haven't you? Or some, was it sketch,
I've
improv?
taken, now I've taken
I
other
meant more
courses.
recently.
More sketch related. No more stand-up classes. I don't know. That's more of just getting out there and trying. But
Yeah,
I've taken some courses.
But that's interesting too. So how's that? Out of
The
curiosity.
sketch classes? Yeah, they're really good. It's writing is difficult.
Oh, I imagine.
But I wanted to learn stand-up. You write by yourself,
Right.
mostly,
Right.
except when you and your friends are talking and maybe you get ideas from each other. But in the sketch class, I learned to write with like a team of people, and that's really, really fun.
Yeah.
That I really, really enjoy. So
Yeah, I could see that being a lot of fun, especially if you get the right heads in the room together, so to speak. You know?
A lot of people just who think differently than you do.
Right, yep.
And so, you know, it's and then you get used to also throwing some some ideas out there that are terrible.
Yep.
And then them being like, oh yeah, but let's not do that. And
yeah.
so you're like, oh, okay, that's fine.
But even still, that's good experience in a way too.
No,
you
it's
know?
good. Yeah, you got to feel that.
Yeah, you do.
You got to feel that.
And you got to be
pain.
confident enough to just throw it out there, whatever does come to mind, because you never know what's going to stick.
Right, and I think that's what I learned from the sketch class is you got to throw as much out there as you can to really find what's going to work.
Yeah, yeah, oh, that's neat. That's neat. So, I mean, we've touched on it a little bit, but anything about doing stand-up that stands out as your favorite aspect of it? I mean, for me, I know it's connecting with the audience. Sometimes I'll go out there and I'll be talking about a crazy thing that, I have to, I go to work and I have to not bring this up all day because this is on my mind and I'm going to get into an argument with a coworker.
Right.
But I craft a joke around it, go out and, and if I'm, if I'm not the best, I'm not making the whole room roar, but I can find those few people who say, oh man, I was just thinking that same thing. So yeah, what stands out for you?
Yeah, I think I would agree that there's something similar there for me. Like I think one of my favorite parts of stand-up is when you've written a joke and especially for the first time you can make it hit.
Yep.
And I love the moment like right before you say the punchline. Like if I set it up and I know it's good, and I know like, oh, if it's a good audience and I'm like, this is gonna murder. And then I get to say the punchline and wait for the reaction. That's the addicting part of stand-up.
Yeah, yeah, it is.
I feel like that. But I also feel like that one of my legitimate favorite parts of stand-up though is watching my friends do that. So, you're with these people and you're at open mics and you're trying out material, and then sometimes you get to see them in front of like a real audience, and you just kind of see people grow and then explode on something that they've been working on for a long time. And I just feel like so proud, I guess.
It's great. It's great when you see it. I mean, I think we can all remember different, local comics or what have you, seeing them come up or seeing them start working, even just start working on a new 5 minutes that's really killing.
Right. When you hear one of your friends do a new joke and you're like, oh God, this is going to be something. Yeah, you're like, this is really going to go somewhere.
Exactly.
And that's, that's part of it too, is that I just love comedians.
Yeah, and the camaraderie
I just love comedians, and I can meet a comedian, and if we connect, I mean, it's like, you feel like they're your best friend within 5 minutes, just because you have like a shared experience. You guys know you speak the same language, and so it's, I don't know, that's my favorite part is being with the comics, I guess.
Definitely, yeah. Yeah, it's understandable. Yeah, I tell my friends all the time, there's nothing like hanging out with a room full of comics. I mean, it's just there's just no other group of people that's going to have that same kind of conversation. It's not going to go the same way.
No, there's just nothing off limits.
Right, exactly.
Which sometimes you're like, okay,
maybe there should be some limits.
Maybe there should be some limits, but that's fine. That there's not. Yeah.
Exactly. But yeah, no, it's a fun thing. I love it too. I absolutely love it. But it kind of leads into the next question. What's your least favorite part?
All the driving.
Yeah, that's a great answer.
My favorite part is being with comedians. So my least favorite part is
getting to the comedian.
I mean, where we are in Connecticut, for a lot of it, I have to drive at least an hour.
Yeah.
Right. So it's a lot of time in my car. It's a lot of time eating combos at gas stations.
Yeah.
I know so many gas stations. Like I know which ones has the snacks I like. You know what I mean? Like I shouldn't know gas stations that well, but I do.
But you do.
So that's kind of the worst part. I would say also like part of the worst part is getting to that first 5 minutes. I mean, I spent my first year doing stand-up. I told you I had like a nice pop in the beginning, right? So I had all this confidence, and then it was just not good for like a year. And that's just because you're trying to figure out how to tell a joke, how to even say it so that it gets a reaction. And I spent my first year like crying after every mic that I went to. I would just get in my car and it would just be like Meryl Streep tears. Oh, it was so sad. And I was like, I'm never doing this again. But
clearly.
But you just keep going.
Well, we're glad that you did.
Thank you.
Honestly. But
I still cry so much. I cry a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Fine.
We all bomb. We all have bad sets. And that's an interesting experience too. Talking about that good feeling, when it's the new joke you're working on or a friend. It's the exact opposite of that feeling. It's like comedy withdrawal, basically. For after you get out of rehab, and you're it's a funny thing, and it is funny trying to figure out the dynamics of it too. Because how many times have you said something, exact same wording, and totally different reaction. You
Yeah,
know?
I mean, you just keep going.
Yep.
Yeah, you're going to get a different reaction on the same joke in 10 different venues, but you start to see and develop a pattern of what's working and what's not.
So let's, we're just going to wrap up this segment here.
Sure.
So I just wanted to get into what you're working on now, where anybody that might want to see you can find you.
I mean, I do shows and fundraisers around the area, Connecticut, New York, Boston, and then I also, I just recently started a podcast with another comedian, Katie Arroyo, and she and I, it's called Reluctantly Here. It's, you know, it's just a free podcast online. You can look it up, and it's basically us just sort of talking about how we reluctantly participate in all of these things, including comedy.
Nice, nice.
So
I like it.
it's just stories about our lives. Basically.
Yeah. All those horrible experiences. Of having to
Yeah,
get out of bed.
Any bad experience, we're going to be talking about it. So.
Yep. Oh, all right, excellent. Well, thank you. So, how have been some of the more recent open mics you've done? Any good horror stories or what?
Any good horror stories?
Yeah, horror stories, yeah.
Actually, I think for the most part, open mics have been pretty good right now. I think you have a lot of people in Connecticut who are like starting really good mics and learning how to build audiences into them. But of course, you always have the bar shows where you're speaking to 4 people who are there to drink and not listen to you tell jokes.
Exactly.
That's the last thing they want to hear.
Yep.
So most of those horror stories come from that. But I was at an open mic once that was like a Halloween themed party, right? So they said to come in a costume. So I showed up in a costume, but I was the only one who showed up in a costume.
Yeah.
So because I didn't have very many comedy friends at the time, like I didn't have anybody to tell me like, Catherine, don't freaking show up in a costume because nobody else is going to be wearing one. So I came as Michelle Duggar.
Oh boy.
From the like 19 and Counting, that like television show where they have like a 20 kids. I don't even know. So what I did was I dressed like her. She dresses really conservative, right? So I had this like buttoned up blouse and this jean skirt and this big wig. Now the other problem was that nobody realized I was dressed up because the wig was like brunette.
Yeah.
So first of all, I think it's super rude that people didn't know I was dressed up, right? So they just thought I came there.
Yeah, that's how you look,
in this like librarian Sunday school teacher outfit, and I was like, you guys think this is how I do stand up? So, but the best part was because she always has children, right? I wanted to make it a bit, so I was doing my stand up that night as Michelle Duggar.
Okay. Yep.
So I held a baby doll in between my legs underneath the skirt without telling anybody. I'm talking from the car to the bar.
Oh, man.
And then I sat with it, right? Like this Cabbage Patch doll. So then I got up to do my set, and I don't want to say like I'm really good. Like you've seen The Prestige or that movie where the magicians like hold stuff with their like very strong legs, right? Like I felt like that. I was like, this is gonna kill, right? In the middle of my set, I go to tell a joke, and I let the baby drop as if I had accidentally birthed a baby. And it was on a wood floor, and it made the most amazing thump I've ever heard. And quite honestly, I don't know that I've ever made a bar laugh that hard.
That's great.
From jokes that I have written. Like that was, and I'll just never do it again. Like I'll never have that opportunity.
Right. Yeah. When do you get that chance?
That was
That's
like
some
a
serious commitment, though. That's
so committed, so committed to this baby joke.
Right. Oh,
and I was
great.
so glad it worked because I'm going to be honest. If that hadn't, I would not be sitting here right now. I can't be like the girl who brought a Cabbage Patch doll and dropped it out between her legs.
Yeah, that's
in the
not
middle of a
something you
set.
could just walk away from. No,
that would follow me for life.
Yeah. Oh man, that's funny. So the next thing we've got here, any new material you're working on? How is it being received? Anything like, anything you want to get into there?
Sure. I think for me right now, where I'm at, like I'm doing a lot of more personal writing. So before, when I was starting out, you're really trying to do like a hard setup punchline, right? Like just a set premise and then kind of a joke. And I would try and mix my personality. But in the last like 6 months or so, I feel like I can come out on stage, and I've been working on more storytelling. So right now I've got a joke that's hitting pretty hard. It's a story about how I tried to pick up a guy at a deli counter at the grocery store, and it's just this story about how I'm just bad at flirting, right? And so, but it's working so well, and I think that's like I'm excited about that because I feel like people are responding to that more than they're responding to the other stuff before. And then partly that's just growth and just the ease of being on stage.
Right.
But I also feel more myself.
Yeah.
And so I feel like that's the goal, is to like get your jokes,
Yep.
Be a good joke writer, be funny, but then like have it come out in such a way that it really just feels like you.
Yeah.
And so that's what I've been working towards.
Yeah.
It's sometimes embarrassing though.
Yep.
You're like, because this is me. Like I'm not.
Yeah. It's no longer an act. There's nothing to hide behind
You
anymore.
have a little bit of
a
a stage persona, of course.
Right.
But it's still, when I'm talking about how I feel about how I look or how I act or feeling rejected, like all those things are real.
Right.
And so sometimes people will laugh and I'll be like, why are you laughing at that?
Yeah, right, yeah.
But I like it.
Right, yeah. That's
I don't know, it's a little twisted, I guess.
Yeah. No, I see exactly what you're saying. It's funny that there are some comics out there that, and as good as they may be, they're very mechanical, like you were talking about, of sticking more to just set up punch. And there's some guys that I've seen, particularly, and I don't know if it's just because I go down there a lot, but particularly in New York, it very, very technically correct, like as if you had sat down and just constructed the perfect joke.
Right.
But it just sounds so hollow when you don't hear that voice behind it.
Sure.
And you can appreciate it, and I can look at it as a comedian and say, wow, that's it's really well written and this and that, but it's not getting the same reaction.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I think you have to try all sorts of writing styles and then figure out where you're most naturally inclined and then build on that.
Yeah.
So I've seen people who are brilliant setup punchline people, and at this stage in the game, that's just not where I'm at.
Yeah.
I'm more working towards a storytelling aspect, which is fine. Like there's room for everybody.
Oh, yeah. I mean, exactly. There's, comedians that basically stick to one-liners. There's comedians that, are out there for an hour.
And if you can figure out about yourself what's funny, like what makes you funny, then like if you can bring that to the stage, figure out how to make that translate to an audience, then you're gonna have the most fun.
Yeah, no, definitely. I agree. All right, well, thank you. I think we're going to take a quick break here. We're going to bring out our next section. We'll get our titillating topic tub that's actually ahead this time.
Oh, good.
And I'm going to try really hard not to drop it. That's my big thing, not screwing up your last name, not dropping the head. So we'll see if we can't get that done.
Sounds good.
All right.
So this is the tub.
The tub.
The questions that I don't know are coming.
And welcome back. So we'll be doing our next segment here. So we'll be going through our titillating topic tub.
Okay.
We'll have Catherine read off some random topics and answer these questions as we put her on the spot and make her feel awkward.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good.
And then
I don't get enough of that.
Yeah. No, that definitely doesn't happen.
I love
like
I
on
love
stage or anything
awkward.
like that.
No.
And then we're gonna have you actually write one of your own and add it to the head.
Oh, okay. All right.
All right. So let me try not to drop this. And
oh, it's a literal head.
yes, it literally is a glass head.
Okay. If my hand gets stuck, I'm going to be really upset. Okay.
Yeah.
So I just read this?
And you can read the topic and
Roasts.
So
Well, I just talk about roasts?
So yeah, let's talk about some roasts that you've done. First of all, you're a killer roaster.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I think it's your meticulous nature.
Yeah, thank you.
I've done some of these roasts, and I've looked up people on Facebook and been like, you kind of look like a dork. And so those were the jokes. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
I don't know, you had glasses on in your profile picture.
Right.
That's as much research as I really did.
Yeah.
And realistically, I don't think of myself as much of a roaster, but they're a lot of fun to do. And it's not something that I am putting a heck of a lot of time or effort into, but I enjoy doing them at the same time if it's going to be a free night, and this and that. You, on the other hand, I've heard stories of you coming with a full index card for each person.
Yeah. I mean, if you're going to participate, you might as well come prepared, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Roasts are fun because it's just joke writing. It's just pure joke writing, and you can say whatever you want. So I always tell people that the reason that I love roasts so much is because I feel like in society and rightfully so in a lot of places, there's a certain way, a social etiquette of speaking, right?
Yep.
Roast battle takes those boundaries away pretty much.
Oh, yeah.
And then people who are entering it, they're fine with that. So it's like all the fun of bullying without somebody's feelings getting hurt.
Right,
although I have seen people get upset.
Oh, yeah.
But I also really enjoy being roasted. I mean, somebody called me Principal Trunchable from Matilda, and I died laughing because I've never thought about that before, and it was so funny.
That is funny.
So I don't know. It's the best, and I'll tell you what. if you've ever done a roast joke and it really hit, and you've heard an entire bar just like cheer and start high-fiving, that's the greatest feeling. That was better than killing on stage. I don't know. It's so fun.
Yeah, it really is, and it different with roast compared to being on stage. Is to us, to a lot of the comedians, a lot of them are inside jokes. You know,
right?
If you're cracking a joke about Manning having a really big butt, you know what I mean. You know, we've all heard him talk about that on stage. You know, and this and that and whatever. You know, and so I don't know if you write a really good joke around that or whatever, you know.
Right.
We all know the setup and the story behind it. You know what I mean? So
I think it's also you're taking people's insecurities and you're putting them right up front, and then you're making fun of them. And I feel like we live in fear of people talking about our insecurities. And so actually, I think the roast is the most freeing thing I've ever done.
Yeah.
Because I can let them make fun of that stuff and it's fine.
Exactly.
And then I can poke fun at them and it's fine. Like you just realize like you're just more valuable than that. Like it just levels the playing field. I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
Oh, it's true. And that's the thing. And you go into it with it, you know you're going to be getting roasted. You know you're going to, try and go vicious. You know,
right.
at other
I would
people.
never invite my mother.
And
I'm like, you don't want to hear that. You don't want to hear this. What they're going to say about me.
Yeah. This is a whole different thing.
She wanted
Mom.
to come once, and I was like, oh nope, not a good idea.
Yeah.
Let's not do that.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah. Yeah, but no, they are a heck of a lot of fun. But yeah, let's grab another topic out of the head.
Another head topic.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. How to deal with bombing on stage.
That's always a fun one. And we got into that a little bit before. And I've noticed for me as I've done it, and just with time and experience, I don't feel like kind of a quicksand effect anymore. If all of a sudden they start to bomb, a few things miss, maybe they should have hit, and it's just like, okay, what the heck? It doesn't throw me off so much that it can take down the rest of my set as much as it used to.
Sure.
Just that the lack of confidence and getting apprehensive and everything, and then the next thing you know, you're up there going, oh God, this is going horrible. When am I getting the light? Am I getting off stage now?
Right.
So I find that, that I'm not necessarily bombing because one joke bombed, but more or less my whole set was bad.
Oh yeah, when the whole set doesn't go well, that's the worst.
That's a good feeling.
But I feel like I definitely still bomb. I've delivered sets to dead silence or jokes that I really thought were gonna work to dead silence, and it's so hard. But I'm at the point now where I'm not like looking to run off the stage. I'll still get a little sweaty, but I'm not looking to like exit right away.
Right, yeah.
Most of the time, I will just recognize that it's happening.
Yep.
Like I'll just say, all right, well, we have to sit through this. I'm gonna be up here still talking about it.
Yep.
Sometimes if you address it, you can find that the audience slowly comes to your side.
Yeah.
The worst, though, is when you're doing a big act out. Let's say you have a joke where you're doing some real physical comedy.
Yep.
And I've done that before where it's like been this big, silly, like Will Ferrell style thing and nobody laughs.
Yeah.
And then you have to be like, that is so embarrassing.
Yeah.
And I will say that. I'll be like, what I just did was so embarrassing. Let's move on.
Yeah. With some,
it still sucks.
It still does. With some of my bits that I put a lot of energy into, and I'm maybe not necessarily acting things out as much, but I'm getting like over the top angry, you know. And when that doesn't resonate, and you just hear those crickets when you get done, you look around, you go, oh God, what did I just do?
Yeah. One time I went to a club where I was like showcasing for the first time to kind of maybe get to host at this club, and I very naively thought to myself, I'll just get up there and be me, right? I was like, I'll write some jokes on the fly up top, and then I'll never do that. If you're showcasing for somebody, have your material, do your material, let it be good, let it be the best you can do. Because I got up there and completely bombed.
Oh, man.
And I was so embarrassed, and and that was not one where I was like, ooh, what's happening here, guys? I wanted to get off the stage, and then I left the club. I never went back. And they didn't call me. They weren't like, ooh, good try, come on back.
Yeah. Well, come back in 6 months, right. Oh, man, yeah. Yeah, it's never fun bombing. It is, and with a show like that, where there's a little more pressure on it,
right?
You feel it a little bit more.
Just be ready.
Yeah.
Be ready. Do your best.
Yeah.
Because at least if you do that, at least you can say, okay, well, I gave it my best shot.
Right.
If you just bomb because you're silly, like you were dumb, then that's on you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, write jokes, remember them, recite them later.
Yes. Completely. Always write jokes.
All right. Well, that's 2 topics from the tub. I think we might have a little bit more time, so I'll have you pull one more. We'll get through that quick, and then I'll have you add one to the tub, and we'll say goodbye.
All right. Sounds good. Okay.
All right. Pick my brain.
All right. Let's see. Rehearsal.
Rehearsal. Ah, okay. So here's one I bet your meticulous nature you could really speak on.
Okay.
Are you an hours in front of the mirror person?
Not in front of the mirror, but like in front of stuffed animals and blank walls.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Yep. So I'll take my niece's stuffed animals, which I've heard from another comedian, and so I like took that up and I'll like put them on the couch, and it's really just to have something to look at.
Yeah.
So you feel real silly, but I will recite my jokes about homelessness to the Care Bears.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, that's
like a
funny.
bunch of Beanie Babies listening to me rant about me hitting on somebody at the deli.
Yeah.
But it is all out loud.
Yeah. I'll do that. And I'll do it even in the car or as I'm just driving and I'm
in the car.
just talking through something that maybe I've written the premise and I've started writing the joke and I'm just, I'm just kind of riffing off of it in my head, and even I'll try little things. I will do a bit that I think might be a good lead-in for it, just to see if that helps me to write the bit I'm trying to finish. You know what I mean? Little things like that.
And that does help, right? When you start saying things out loud and you start hearing your own voice say them, and you're kind of it's like especially for me, my brain writes out loud.
Yeah.
So it'll be different than if I'm just sitting with a pen. But if I'm saying it, sometimes ideas will come to me, and so it's just the repetition of that. Sometimes I'll rehearse in front of friends. Like if I think I have a good story or a bit, I'll try and bring it up at like work or in conversation.
Oh yeah, I do
and
that
if they start laughing, I'm like, I'm going to take that to the stage.
Yep, definitely. Oh yeah, I do that all the time. People don't realize I'm just constantly testing.
Oh
stuff
yeah,
on them.
no, totally. I'll just always throw around bits.
I feel bad. So yeah, I've stopped saying like, oh yeah, that's a joke I'm working on now, because now I just feel like I'm using those for
don't
people.
recognize it.
Yep,
just be funny.
Yep.
They'll see
just
it later.
Let them think I was that funny naturally, right?
That's right.
Oh, so let's have you come up with a topic, anything you want. We'll throw it in the head.
Do I say it out loud?
Yes, please. Yeah, and then we can force one of the other comedians
to read it
at random.
Sorry.
Why don't you just write it right on here?
Okay. I'm gonna put hecklers.
Hecklers. That's a good one.
Yeah,
That's a
is
great
that good?
one. That's a great one.
Hecklers.
All right.
There you go.
All right. We'll stick that in the head.
Yeah, I hope somebody really gets stuck with that one.
Yeah, that'll be a good one. All right, so let's just wrap things up. Catherine, did you want to plug your social media again? Let them know where they could find you?
Sure. I'm on Facebook, Catherine Geronimi, Instagram, Catherine Geronimi, and Twitter, Catherine Geronimi. And I am the only Catherine Geronimi, so
that made it easy for
find
everybody.
Me. Yep.
You guys can look her up there and check her out sometime soon.
That's right.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
We have kept talking.
I don't know.